the United States, the political system in the United States is essentially a democratic republic, and so that means that on the one hand, it is just a national republic like France or any other modern nation state, not any other, but most other modern nation states. But it's also democratic in that it allows for example, popular elections. People can be elected to city council or to state government or to the national government who truly represent the people. That can actually happen, although it's extremely rare because the non-democratic elements of the country also exercise a very large influence upon how things go in this country. And you can really see this by looking back into history and looking at, for example, Shays' Rebellion. Shays' Rebellion happened not very long before the founding of the Constitution, and what that was a uprising of indebted farmers who had fought in the Revolutionary War. And they were being put in debtors' prisons, simply for being poor, despite the fact that they had fought for the country and all of that. And so they rebelled. They took up arms and they marched on Boston. And in response, the elites of the fledgling United States wrote the Federalist Papers, which were explicitly anti-majoritarian, pro-elitist, diatribes and broadsheets and whatnot. And the U.S. Constitution was primarily based upon the Federalist Papers and based upon the anti-majoritarian elitist writings of people like James Madison and Alexander Hamilton and others. Now, granted, Hamilton and Madison are quite different. Madison's a pluralist. Hamilton is more of an explicit elitist. But even Madison's version of pluralism is pretty elitist in the sense that it's very much opposed to the will of the vast majority, and in fact explicitly attempts to curtail that from having influence. So the way that our country runs, and slavery is just one of many examples. It's a very prominent and important example, probably the worst crime of U.S. history. But it is indicative of the nature of the system. And you only have to look at the fact that slavery was able to exist in this country to understand just how elitist and anti-majoritarian our version of republicanism is, and how little influence democratic elements have had upon the Democratic Republic of the United States. Now, I do still say that it's a democratic republic because there have been successes, although these successes have been limited, they've been partial, like the limited successes of the civil rights movement to desegregate the country, at least legally speaking, to at least do that. The fact that there has been a Black president, the fact that women and people of color can vote, and all of that, can legally have the right to vote doesn't necessarily mean that that there aren't ever barriers, but all of that is at least formally there, and so I think it is fair to say that that it's kind of a mixed system. It's a hybrid system that is both democratic and elitist at the very same time.